Hi, my name is Mo, and in this video I'm going to talk about operations category. In the previous video I talked about select by category, and in this video I'm going to talk about operations and try them one by one, at least most of them. So the first category is on actor, the first subcategory, whether to say, is on actor, and let's just try them. For example, add tags. Add tags is very clear, we're going to add tags. So let's just select a mesh or select a static mesh actor. How we can select it by just using the select by category. For example, select actor label, and then I'm going to say contains mat0. I'm going to say preview. I'm going to select it. First of all, I'm going to just look for tags. I'm going to be actor tags, not this one, but this category, actor tags. I have 2 tags, so I'm going to add another one, and I'm going to just say sample tag. I'm going to just do execute again. So I'm not sure why, but you need to press this button execute 2 times, most of the time, 90% of the times. So you're going to execute it. I'm not sure why. So I'm going to just select it again, and I'm going to see my sample tag in here. It is kind of necessary to having these. It is kind of important, this adding tags. Why? Because sometimes you want to specifically target, for example, a specific mesh. For example, three meshes from here and 3 meshes somewhere else. If you want to get them by just, for example, by label, this is very difficult. You need to do it many times. But sometimes you can just add one time, add tag to them, and in another one, you can just say tag, and then just here select the tag. Just press this one and then just copy paste, and now you can get the tag again, get all the actors by this tag. So this actor can be here or in here. It does not necessarily need to be under one parent. So it's kind of very important to this. It plays an important role, this add tags node. Let's go to the next. Add to layer. Add to layer. I'm going to just delete the other one. Add to layer again is like add tags. Very clear. You're going to add it to a layer. So I can't show you the layers. I can just filter it based on the layer, and you're going to see that what kind of a layer I have in here. I'm not going to delete this. If I'm going to add it to the layer, I'm going to add something to the layer. So I'm going to just this layer, and it's going to be, for example, sample layer. Yeah. So for example, this one, first of all, I need to be sure that I have that. Yes, and I'm going to execute it. Okay, now this one time button press works. So now I need to get back to this, just saying preview off, so I can filter it based on the layer. And now you're going to see what I have in here is a sample layer. So I added also to this layer as well. So it has this layer, and also it has this, but it's just separation is by a comma. So add to layer, compact scene graph. Compact scene graph is something that better not to have it by any actor. Better just affect all of these, all of the hierarchy. Why? Because it says, if when you hover over it, it says that delete actors that do not have visuals, but keep those needed to preserve the hierarchy. So it is very clear, if the actor does not have any visuals and does not have any children, and those children do not have any visuals, is going to delete them. So if you want to clean it, to just be sure that your scene is clean, you can use this compact scene graph. There is also something else that you can also use it without any label. I'm not sure, where did I see it? Delete unused assets. So you can, both of them, you can use it at the same time. You can just delete whatever asset that you have in here and they're not used in your model. So you want to just delete them. And usually you're running them, having them run for you in just one block of code, one block of nodes. So it's going to be, okay, find actor by label. Next one, compact scene graph with create proxy mesh. Again, it's very clear. Create proxy is just going to 50% is the quality. I'm going to, for example, target this one. This one, I need to know what is the name of it. So it's going to be transfer. Trans F FL mat4 preview. Correct, I have it, and now I'm going to just have 50%. I have the possibility to create one label for it, but if I'm going to just select one of them, select many. For example, I'm going to use a wildcard, and I'm going to say that one question mark. So I'm going to just grab 0 to 9, and I'm going to just say that merged reduced quality mesh. And if I just execute it, 55%. Okay, now you're going to see that I have I have my mesh. What happened exactly to my mesh is just 50% of quality, and instead of just 9 static meshes, now I have just only 1. So it's going to be merged, reduced merged quality mesh. And if I just delete this, I'm going to have in this case I'm going to see the mesh, for example, in here. Yes. So so now I'm going to just import it again to just have the full quality mesh. Yep. And I'm going to also delete this one. Let's go to the next. Merge. Merge, again, it does do the merge, but without reduction, quality reduction. I'm going to just take, again, 0 to 9, and I'm going to merge them, merge the assets. And I'm going to do the pivot point. Pivot point, it can be at the word origin, if I just check it, or the first one that it finds in the list, which means this one is going to be the pivot of this one, is going to be pivot of the newly created object. So if I just say execute, I hope that does not take a long time. Okay, now we are seeing that merge assets. If you have one, we have one, and we have many materials, but we have only one asset file. So next is random offset set. Again, I'm going to just say import to be sure that I have the full mesh without any optimization or without any merging. So now it's just going to on random is going to give them a location and rotation. Just a location, sorry, but you can also put it a rotation or a scale if you want, but you need to duplicate this one, for example, if you want to also, and put it, for example, on a scale if you want to just also influence the scale. So in the location, I can say that's something between on x-axis, something between 500 or 5 meters, or between on y-axis also 5 meters. On z-axis, I do not want it, so I want to keep it horizontal. And relative or the word, I would like to just keep it as the word. So, and then I'm going to just say to this all of them, and I'm going to just say, let's say all of them, all of the meshes that you're going to see that, and execute. It's a very simple, lightweight system. If I'm going to just say, if I can find it, it's going to come to here. I think this 500 was very much. And as you're seeing, they is completely scattered from each other. They're completely scattered from each other. So I'm going to just import again. Replace asset references. Replace asset references is going to change the asset references to the first one that it finds in the list. But let's see. Replace references to each asset with the first asset in the list. In this case, I tried it, but I could not get a proper result. But you need to have it. You need to first select it. Select some, for example. If you select, let's just say select something. Select these meshes, for example. Part 29 question mark preview, and I'm going to be part 29. In this part, it needs to be this one, and it needs to be wildcard. So this could be okay. Now I have these three. Now it needs to just references of 2 needs to just get destroyed with the references or with the references of the first one and replaced with the reference of the first one. Actually, nothing should happen in here because the first one is exactly look like the other 2, but there is something wrong with it because when I say execute, He said that it is in use. He said that it is in use, and he said that that's why there's just something wrong with it. So it could just replace the references. It deleted the references. Okay, but it has kept the first one, deleted the references of this one and this one. Okay, but it could not replace the first one to the second and third one. So that's a problem. I'm not sure how it's supposed to work exactly. So let's go to the next. Set mesh. In the set mesh, it's very clear because you're setting the mesh. So you need to just say, select it. For example, instead of that, you would like to select the mesh. Let's just say sample mesh, for example, cone, and execute it. It's very clear. You're going to have cones in here instead of these three. Exactly. Set metadata is very important because you can change their metadata. And let's see what we have as metadata. For example, I can say sample key, and then it's going to be sample value. And for these three, and I'm going to just execute. Now I pick one of them, and metadata is stored in asset user data, and I'm going to open them. The first one, the data is user data, that's user data, and I'm going to have the sample key and sample value. So that's the metadata. Metadata is kind of like very important when, specifically when the model comes from another DCC application. For example, when it comes from Maya, when it comes from Rhino, and they are marking it, they're just putting some metadata into it. For example, animations or name of the materials or properties of the materials are coming with metadata. Set mobility is again very clear. You're just affecting this static stationary mobility. So I can put it into stationary or movable and execute it. It's very lightweight script. It doesn't do anything special. It's just change their mobility to movable. So spawn actor's location, again, is very easy because you are going to, for example, just pick some, for example, cylinder, and then I can say that, okay, instead of these, please just, not instead of these, close to them, spawn these object as a child. So that's why we're going to get this, and this. Same name, just SA, just add it to them, to their name, and they're spawned at their locations. That was the subcategory on actor. Let's just go forward with output to folder. Output to folder is very clear, which means that, for example, I'm going to first, I need to just go by object. So I'm going to just grab it to some object from this panel. For example, I want to say Blin, and I'm saying that Blin, I'm going to just put it on preview. I have it. I want to just put it in a folder, spatial materials, or the custom materials, my custom materials. Okay, and then it should be a folder under this folder, under model link folder, should be a subfolder, and it needs to put this this material into it. So if I just execute, and if I say commit, so now if I just get back to the model, I have my view, and I have a sample view, model. Model has my custom materials, the folder, and it just the only Blin material is in this folder. So you can categorize yourself, categorize your assets, for example, in this way. For example, if you have, I need to import it again. So you have many data files. For example, in this case, you have materials instances, and you have materials, and you have static meshes. For example, you can say that all the static meshes go to one folder, all materials go to another folder, all material instances go to another folder. You can just say categorize them in here if in case you need to do that. On asset, that was the only one in this category. Let's go for on mesh. Database tessellation. Database tessellation is just if you just add more values to this one, you're going to reduce the amount of triangles you are producing. Okay, but this, feel free to just play with it, this is yours. If you want to play with it, you can just do it. But this should be the same functionality that you have when I say import something. For example, import that with the data smith, and I can say test, okay, and it comes to here, and I have geometry and tessellation, max edge length, normal tolerance, a stitching technique, and chord tolerance is just chord tolerance, max edge and normal tolerance. Let's just see, are they chord tolerance, max edge length, normal tolerance? That's exactly the same option. So whatever the options you're using there, you can also use it in here. Then flip faces is just if you want to flip their faces. For example, in this case, it's not, I need to just say grab something by actor. Okay, and then for example, this one, I want to say trans F, FL, mat 4, put it on preview. Okay, I have it, and now I'm going to flip its faces, execute, and now you're not seeing it anymore because its face is toward this direction. So that's flip faces. It's very practical. It's very practical. I've seen many times in many applications, and then many models that you're getting it in Unity and in Unreal, you have wrong faces. What can you do? You're using these flip faces in Pixies or in DataPrep, Visual DataPrep asset file. So let's go to the next flip faces. Generate unwrapped UV. Generate unwrapped UV if you want to generate it. For example, first empty channel, and how many angle of threshold you would like to create between angle of threshold. So you need to also angle of threshold. You can define your angle of threshold. This option is exactly the same option. If I can, for example, if I can grab this part, details, and go to the static mesh. This option is unwrap UV, and you're going to specify the channel, and you're going to do channel UV and angle threshold. For example, 1 if you just want to very cramped area. And the empty channel, which means that if this is full, for example, this one is full, this one is almost full, and is almost full, is just so many dots in here. And then if you want to generate it, it's going to generate another channel because this one is also full. Or you can override over this channel if you want. So for example, if I just come back, so I can just say that a specified channel on channel 1, please just, yes, generate unwrapped UV. Then set convex collision. The convex collision, if you want, so you are defining your simple collision, is exactly this window in the static mesh. When you're coming to here, you have this convex composition, complex decomposition, so the hole count, max hold verse, and then hole precision. More values you're giving it, more heavier your model, heavier the collision is going to be. It's going to be this simple collision. For example, in this case, I'm not seeing even any collision. If I just say complex mesh, this one, but I'm looking for simple collision. So you can just generate it with this one. You can just, oops. Yeah, you can generate it with this one. So you're going to just have something like that. Okay, let's get back. Okay, so that's exactly, it does the same thing. So you're not going to view it in here. You cannot just, if you say execute, nothing going to see, you're not going to see any difference, but you're going to see difference when you're putting commit and then going to a static mesh window editor. Next one, set LOD group. LOD groups, what LOD groups you want to just, these are predefined in your engine.ini. If you just say this is my project folder, and there's always, when it comes to the base engine.ini, the base engine.ini, if you open it, base engine ini, if you open it, you're going to just come to somewhere like this. Just search for static mesh LOD settings, and a static mesh LOD settings, you're going to see all of your LOD groups: a small group, large, deco, vista, foliage, high detail. And for example, they said that LOD percentage triangle 50% or the pixel error 10%, and then you have that as well. So you can just change them or create your own LOD level group. Let's go back. Yeah. So that's the LOD group. then it's going to be set. Maybe I better to show you as well. So if you do that, if you come to the static mesh again, you're going to have something LOD group, LOD section. There is something like, in this case, I'm not seeing LOD group. You're going to fill up this one. You're going to change this value. So it's not something very special. You're going to change this value, but you're going to automate it, of course, in this way. Okay, let's go back and next one. Set LODs. If you want to define your LODs, you're going to say that auto screen size. If you want to auto screen size, but for example, do that. And an auto screen size for each static mesh to process, replace the existing static mesh LODs with the new ones based on the set of reduction settings. Just leave it there, because on auto screen size, based on the distance of the object, you're going to change. It's going to change between these LODs. And then, for example, as percentage of triangles, I'm going to say that okay, I want full of it, all of it, and the screen size. When the screen size is also is very close to it. So it's going to be percentage count half, and then now I want nothing. For example, I want very small part of it, then I'm very away from it. So it's going to be 1. So I'm going to add these 3 parts to it. So when I do that, I'm going to, let's just say what we have. Let's just say import again. So, okay. And then this math part is going to be this one. And I'm going to say execute again. So I'm going to say commit this one. Now let's see what's going to happen. Okay, now I just committed it. I'm going to come down to select this one. Go there. And open the static mesh window. Okay, just the other side. Okay, now it's just a full-fledged auto LOD. You have 3 LODs, so that's LOD 1. The best one, LOD 0, LOD 1, and LOD 2. Now you're seeing the LOD 2 is just very little triangles, has very little triangles. If I just put it on wireframe, you're going to see more as little triangles. LOD a little one more, and LOD 0 has complete full-fledged triangles. So that was the LOD. Yeah. So it comes to this one, LOD picker. And when you just leave it to auto LOD, you're going to just say change between them automatically. Yeah. So let's get back to the data asset file. Next one is set LODs. Okay, set simple collision. Set simple collision is going to be box, capsule, sphere, or n discrete oriented polytype 10x, for example, on Y or on Z, or 18 or 26. Is exactly, if you go through again a static mesh and then collision, you can add something. For example, this is 10, 20, 18, 26, or just simple as that. So if you just add something, if you just go to the collision, there is just a tab of collision, I guess, somewhere in here. Yeah, collision. So you have primitives, you have box, and you have a sphere, because you have added one as a sphere. But you can add, for example, add a 10 degree, and then you're going to just say 10. Okay, and then, or you can add a 26 DOP. Something like that on top of it. But this is exactly what you're targeting, is this addition that you're targeting here with this with this option in the visual DataPrep asset file. So you're not seeing any difference here, but you're going to see the difference on the static mesh window. Set up static lighting. Set up a static lighting. Enable light map UV generation and resolution ideal ratio. More resolution you're giving to it is going to be just take more time for your application to bake the light. You need to be careful about that. And this, for example, this part, you have it as a light resolution, but this one is a ratio. But this one, you also have it, if I, for example, say import, And if I say just that, and then comes a window that you have control over it. Then generate lightmap UV. This is the same as the other one that you have. But I'm not sure that you have anything like lightmap resolution in here. I'm not sure if you have something. But in the datasmith file, if you say datasmith, for example, the same Rhino, if I just say try to open it, you have max lightmap resolution and you have mean lightmap resolution and generate lightmap UVs, again, the same thing as that. So that's, again, it's kind of like the same options that you have here, set up a static lighting. So you need to be careful because it can increase the bake time and use it if you really need it. Let's go to the next. Mesh is, we have finished the mesh part. I'm going to the next category on object. So delete object is very easy because you need to just say get object. So I'm going to grab object, just import it again so we can finish our experimentation project. So delete object, for example, let's just say pick one object, is Boolean, for example, again. Boolean, if it contains that and it's a preview, I have it already, I want to delete it, and then I can say execute. And I've deleted it. But this delete object doesn't mean it needs to necessarily be object. I can also make it actor. So I want to just select this one, and then I can say that smat0, and I say contains, just preview it. I got it, and I'm going to just execute it, and I'm going to just say delete it, exactly. So it's good. This deletion can also from this panel or this panel, is either one is okay. It does not necessarily. I'm not sure why it says object. This object can be anything. Delete unused assets, as I mentioned that, yes, if it does not reference any other assets, and also if it does not have any visuals, it's going to delete it for you. Set materials. It's a very handy thing, but not very much, because there is a better option after that, this one by table. So you can change a material. Let's just say you want to change the material of this one. And then let's just get it. So actor is going to be trans FL mat 4. Preview. Preview already is on, so I have it. So I'm going to just change it, for example, to gold. So, and if I just say execute it, I have it to gold. So that's very easy. Substitute materials, so you need to define what materials you have first. For example, just say this one, I need to know Reifengummi. So I'm going to just say Reifengummi. For example, it needs to be, say contain. If my, contains. And then now I want to say that again in gold. So if I just execute it, that's a problem because this part does not have the material Reifengummi. So I need to just say I want to select everything. I want to go through it, and I'm going to say execute it. It's going to scan every static mesh actor materials, and now it's going to just change it to that one. Whatever static mesh has this Reifengummi, contains Reifengummi in the name of the material, is going to be replaced by gold. So the best solution is not this one, but this by table. By table is the best solution. Why? Because let's just say I want to say import it again. You can define it and you can keep the table for later. And also this table can be also used somewhere else in another application. So let's just say I'm going to create a new table. The table is like that. So it's going to be miscellaneous. Data table, because it's a composite data table, it consists of data tables. But you need just one data table, so it just comes to here, and then pick the materials data table, and then it's going to be the data table for materials. Yeah, just select it. So it's going to come to here, and now you're going to add in row, for example, 2 rows or 3 rows, whatever you want, whatever you need. For example, you're going to say Reifen Gummi was it contains, yes, just replace it with gold. Yeah, that was one of them. And then the other one, ext Felgenlack. So I'm going to just say that ext Felgenlack. Let's just say ext Felgenlack. If it contains that, I think three more meshes contains those materials. So I'm going to just say gold again. So I'm going to just save it, and I'm going to get back to DataPrep, and I'm going to reference it by here, which was data table for materials, this one, and I'm going to execute it. Execute it is going to be replace the materials with gold. Replace those two materials with gold. These two materials, Reifen Gummi and whatever that contains ext Felgenlack. Whatever that contains ext Felgenlack, this one. Yeah, Felgen. No, not this one. These two as we replace as well. So that was a table. It's very handy again because, for example, you are bringing a model all the time from. You're getting it from Artist and you're bringing it into Unreal, but you need to change the materials to Unreal materials, special Unreal materials, for example, automotive materials. So this is the table that you're looking for. Yeah, so an object is also finished. So we're going to reference selection by transform and select hierarchy. Reference selection by transform. Let's just talk about this part because it's just easier. If you have an actor, for example, I'm going to just grab this one. It's going to be trans FL. I'm going to say preview. I have this one if it contains. Let's just say if it exact match. So I'm going to just have only one. Then if I want to just grab all of the children, I'm going to say immediate children include itself. Yes, I'm going to have it. If I'm going to just, if it just has more children into children, I'm going to have all descendants. Easy as that. The other one, not this one already we had, this one. This one is going to select, for example, this one select this one, but if it does have any, for example, the static meshes or materials or anything like that, it's going to select them. If you want to, we can also delete them. So let's just try the deletion object. So delete this. So I want to grab this. So I'm going to just say trans FL mat4. I'm going to say that, okay, it just comes to here, perfect. And now I'm going to say that select the transform. This one is going to stay, but the mesh is going to get deleted. So if I do that, the mesh has been deleted from here. I do not have mat4. I do not have mat4. I have mat3. The mesh has been deleted in here, and but it still is just remain. But this one, a static mesh, is just the reference, so it's just null right now. And that's something that you can, if you want to grab whatever a static mesh or whatever textures or something that is associated with just one object, you can just grab it with reference selection transform. And that was all the operations and all the transform by. In the next video, I'm going to talk about how we can create a custom node for each category. For example, for select by category, for operations category, how can we just define our own node instead of using Unreal predefined nodes. Stay with me for the next video.